What if the deadliest famine in human history wasn't caused by droughts, floods, or natural disasters, but by human decisions? Between 1959 and 1961, China faced a catastrophe so immense that tens of millions perished. Yet for decades, the truth was buried. Why did this happen? And how could a nation be starved by its own policies? China in the late 1950s was under the iron rule of Chairman Mao Zedong. He promised a great leap forward, a rapid transformation into a socialist paradise. But behind the slogans, forced collectivization, and radical agricultural experiments lurked disaster. Could one man's vision of progress become a death sentence for his people? Peasants, who had worked their land for generations, were stripped of ownership and herded into collective farms. Traditional farming methods were abandoned for untested, reckless experiments. Grain was overreported to impress party officials, while real harvests collapsed. The state seized crops for cities and exports, leaving villages with nothing. Was this truly progress, or the weaponization of hunger? Official propaganda declared that China was producing record amounts of grain. Posters showed overflowing harvests, smiling workers in fields of plenty. But the reality was starkly different. People in the countryside were eating bark, grass, and even clay to survive. How could a government celebrate abundance while millions wasted away in silence? As hunger spread, the countryside turned into a graveyard. Families collapsed on roadsides, children's cries faded into eerie silence, and entire villages vanished. Yet, speaking out meant death. Anyone who dared to criticize Mao's policy was branded a traitor. Why did the world remain unaware of this colossal tragedy for so long? The death toll remains disputed, but historians estimate between 30 to 45 million people perished during the Great Chinese Famine. Think about that. More than the populations of many nations, gone within just 3 years. Was this famine inevitable, or was it preventable? Had the truth not been silenced? The famine was not the result of nature's cruelty, but the result of man-made policies, blind obedience, reckless ambition, and fear-driven silence. Mao emerged from the famine politically weakened but remained in power, while millions were never given justice. How can one man's vision outweigh the lives of so many? Today, the Great Chinese Famine is still a sensitive topic in China. Monuments are scarce, and open discussion is often suppressed, but the silence of history cannot erase the suffering of millions. If we don't remember them, do we risk repeating the same mistakes again? The Great Chinese Famine reminds us that policies can kill as surely as weapons. When leaders value ideology over human lives, when fear silences truth, ordinary people pay the ultimate price. So we must ask ourselves, how many lives could have been saved if only someone had dared to speak out? The Great Chinese Famine wasn't just a tragedy. It was a crime against humanity. It teaches us that unchecked power, blind loyalty, and forced silence can turn a nation into its own executioner. Remember the millions who died, not as nameless victims, but as warnings carved into history. Their voices are gone, but their silence speaks louder than any propaganda.